So one of the perspective of social solidarity economy is that from the point of view of ASEC, the smallest unit of analysis is not the enterprise, but the value chain. Because enterprise, as you know, is just one unit of the economy. So if we want to look at the entire economic system, we have to look at value chain. So what does an economy include? Of course, in an economy, you have consumers, you have producers, and then they transact business with one another. The difference between SSE and the other types of economy is that the actors basically are organized. So you have organized group of consumers, an organized group of producers. So there is solidarity among consumers and solidarity among producers, and then solidarity between consumers and producers. This is a very simplistic presentation or model of a supply chain. Now, SSE is also called, if applied to agriculture, also called consumer-supported agriculture. It is the shortest supply chain because consumers deal directly with the producers. Next slide. Now, this is not a conceptual, construct or model at the moment because there are already live models in the ground. One live model is the Good Food Community in the Philippines, where they have these partner farmers, more than 100 of them. They have to change their production schedule because in the past, when the farmers plant, they plant their whole area with only one crop. So if they have 5 hectares, they plant this with rice. But in SSE, in consumer-supported agriculture, they have to construct plots and then plant one type of crop in one plot and then another type of crop in another plot and so forth and so on, so that they can harvest every week. So this is one of the features of this type of economy. And then the consumers, they are also organized. They have to subscribe. For example, if the total crop production is say 100 kilos, then the subscribers will say how much of this 100 they are going to subscribe. So that all the 100 will be subscribed, and then there is no wastage because all the subscribers will already buy these 100 kilos in advance. They will pay in advance, and then the delivery is also scheduled. In the case of Good Food for Community, delivery is done every Wednesday, and all the consumer subscribers go there in order to take their orders. So that's one model. Another model is the Live Green International Incorporated. The CEO is Mr. Paris Oy. And I'm also personally involved here. And I'm happy to announce that the project manager of Live Green is participating also in this forum, in this meeting. Now, again, the company, this is a for-profit company. The company has contract growers, organized farmers. Some of them are organized as cooperatives, but some are organized just as an association. So the partner farmers plan production schedule, very much good for food community farmers. And then they do weekly harvest. But then the difference between Live Green and Good Food Community is that Live Green has its outlets in shopping malls. And the vendors are staff or workers of Live Green. And then the identity that the subscribers or consumers of Live Green will look for is the brand of Live Green. It's called Organicus. So whenever they go to the shopping mall, they will look for Organicus. This is the brand. And the shopping mall remits the sales revenue to Live Green. Next slide. Another model is in Malaysia, YKPM. This is the NGO of Kon Onsen, and Dr. Denison is also involved here in the board of directors. Their producers are the Orang Asli or indigenous people. Quinones came to Manila to learn from Liv Green about organic farming, and then he went to Orang Asli and taught them about organic farming. And then the church, the local church in Kuala Lumpur, I think Onsin was a part of that church. They set up a marketing cooperative. So the consumer group were organized into a cooperative. They bought all the produce of the Orang Asli. And then one of the shopping mall in Kuala Lumpur learned about this, and they wanted to be part of that initiative because they are looking for a project that they can call their CSR, corporate social responsibility. So Jaya Grocer said, okay, we would like to participate here. We will buy also all the produce of organic, the Orang Asli. So what Quinones did was to expand, the number of households and the number of acreage that now devoted to production of organic vegetable. That is model number 3. Model number 4, in Kampong Mataraman, Yogyakarta, we went there last November 2019, organized by Jayasooria. This is a community kitchen. So instead of only fresh produce, they now cook the produce and make this available to consumers. Who organized this community kitchen? The villagers of Kampong Mataraman, particularly the women. I think the women already tired of cooking, So they said, why hire a cook? Each one of us, each household hire a cook. We band together and we hire one cook, they cook for us, and then it might be cheaper that way. So they did it that way. The community kitchen buys fresh produce from the local producers and the local vendors, and then they prepare a menu for the whole week. They cook its menu, and then the households, we were told, they prefer to eat there in lunch, and then for dinner they buy whatever is left so that they can have their dinner of dishes cooked in the community kitchen. Now remember, community kitchen is owned by the local people. So even in COVID-19, they are not affected because the bulk of their consumer or clients come from this household. But you know what? What happened is that by word of mouth, the initiative of Kampong Mataraman got spread all over Yogyakarta. So there were many professionals, even foreign tourists, they ate there. We ate there, and then really, the dishes are very, very delicious. Okay, next slide. So what we're going to do is, again, look at, the 5 dimensions. I mentioned the triple bottom line, environmental conservation, economic sustainability, benefits to the community. This will be discussed by Denison after me. I will discuss dimension 1 and dimension 2. Next slide. So dimension 1 is about socially responsible governance. What do we mean by social responsible governance? Now, this is applied to a real case in the Philippines, this analysis. The case of HomeNet Producers Cooperative. HomeNet Philippines is the largest women's association or organization of workers in the informal economy. I am very glad that Suntari of HomeNet Asia is here. HomeNet Philippines is a member of HomeNet Asia, and they are a network of informal workers, largely women. So there are these aspects. Number 1, fair legal framework. This is part of social responsible governance. We're not talking only of good governance. We're not talking only of participatory governance. We're talking of socially responsible governance. So fair legal framework, in the case of HomeNet Producers Cooperative, they are registered with the Cooperative Development Authority. Now, before I proceed, citizens in the Philippines can register under 3 government agencies. They can choose. One is the Securities and Exchange Commission. If you want to register as for-profit organization or non-profit organization, you register with Securities Exchange Commission. Now, there is another government act which classifies further non-profit organizations, especially NGOs, into development NGO and people's organization. People's organization are membership-based, these self-help groups like that, but NGOs, they are not membership-based. So if you don't want to register with SEC, you can register with the Department of Labor and Employment. Now, many informal workers, they go there to register as a labor union, or workers association, or workers cooperative. Now, the third governmental agency that registers is, of course, the Cooperative Development Authority. HomeNet registered with Cooperative Development Authority. Okay. The second is democratic participation. This is what we have been discussing in my first presentation. One person, one vote. In the case of HomeNet Producers Cooperative, they are home-based, informal women workers. Yeah? So they are not in the formal economy. They are in the informal economy, but they have no age discrimination. Why? Because they are home-based, including the children, are part of their enterprise. Yeah? So no age discrimination. The third is social mission. I mentioned this also a while ago. The mission of HomeNet Producers Cooperative is to uplift the socioeconomic status of informal women workers. Now, they recycle enterprise waste because the enterprise are also wastage. So they recycle this. And then in terms of the disposition of profit, what they do is they allocate 30%, at least 30% of cooperative profits for capacity building of members. This is mandated by law. You have to allocate, if you are cooperative, 30% of your profit for education and capacity building of the members. The 70%, what this cooperative, the HomeNet Producers Cooperative do, they apply that to pay for the subscribed capital of the members, because not all members are able to pay, for the subscribed capital. Number 4, equity and inclusiveness. What does it mean in terms of the experience of HomeNet Producers Cooperative? It means that in the cooperative, every member has equal shares. And then there is access to cooperative credit. Everyone has access to cooperative credit. And then the products of members is marketed through the cooperative store. The cooperative store is located in the teachers' village, the teachers at the University of the Philippines. So it is composed of middle-class type of professionals, and the manager was once the dean of the UP College of Social Work and Community Development. So they have a captive market, about probably 3,000 households in that area. So again, here you have an organized consumer in the form of homeowners association, and this is the market targeted by the HomeNet Producers Cooperative. Transparency. What does it mean in the case of HomeNet Producers Cooperative? Well, every member of the cooperative has the right to access records and financial report of the cooperative. They have to disclose to the members who have not paid the loans, past due loans, and who have bad debts. So this is the form of transparency that this cooperative is running. And accountability. This cooperative has to comply with the reports, not only with the Cooperative Development Authority, but also the Bureau of Internal Revenue and also the local government. So when you are registered with any government authority, there are compliances in terms of report. And that's why they are accountable to these institutions when they register. So that's why legal framework is very important, because that is where the accountability will come from. Okay, next. Dimension 2. What do we mean by edifying ethical values? The first aspect of edifying ethical values is compassion. From Latin, compati, it means to suffer with. What does it mean? It means you have a bias, deliberate bias in favor of enterprises of the poor, socially excluded, marginalized, informal micro, small enterprises or enterprise organizations working with the poor, social excluded, and marginalized. You have to make that choice. It's delivery. Why? Because you have compassion for these people. Now, in capitalist economy, because it's also all profit oriented, there is no compassion. So mining companies, they go to your area, they cultivate your mountains, dig up the minerals, and then they leave. They have no compassion. Why? Because just focus on profit. There is a big difference between SSE and the for-profit economy. The second, justice. There is predisposition towards moral rightness based on ethics, rationality, law, natural law, and so forth and so on. Fairness, genuine respect for people. Now, if you believe in God, there's also a spiritual law. What does spiritual law say? You love your God with all your heart, with all your might, with all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. That is spiritual law. If you don't believe in God, there is a natural law, a common law. What is the common law? Do unto others what you would others do unto you. Or don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you. Or smile to other people if you want them to smile to you. In other words, there is order of things. Yeah? But the thing is, apart from this moral rightness, there is genuine respect for people, but you can't have that unless you have compassion. So in the economics of capitalism, ethics does not come in. Why? Because everybody is focused on generating profit. So when you try to run after profit, there is no more ethics on that. All your values are focused on efficiency, like machine. Input, output, something like that. Okay, number 3, you prioritize people and planet over profit. You can only do this if your mindset is transformed. If, for example, you have respect for people. If you are predisposed towards moral rightness based on ethics. Yeah? So you see, SSE is also called transformative economy because it starts with the transformation of the mind. The fourth is solidarity, cooperation, mutualism. There is preference for collective action, cooperation, mutual help, instead of competition by individuals. So this is one of the big differences. We want to cooperate with one another instead of competing with one another. Of course, participatory democracy, collective owners put premium on being the managers, workers of SSE enterprise themselves. Meaning to say, the 3 functions, ownership, management, and working. These 3 functions are rolled into one person. So the cooperator, the member of the cooperative, members and officers, they own the cooperative or the enterprise. They are the managers, and they are also the workers. So this is again another difference because in capitalist setup, these 3 functions are done by 3 people. So next, let us now look at what the HomeNet Producers Cooperative had done with these ethical values. Next slide. Compassion. So what did the HomeNet Producers Cooperative do? They had a bias of their cooperative policies and actions in favor of home-based informal women workers. So you see, this is the bias that came out because of their compassion for the sector of the economy. Number 2, justice. HomeNet Producers Cooperative and their bigger network, the HomeNet Philippines, together with HomeNet Asia, they are very active in asserting publicly and lobbying for the rights of home-based informal women workers so that they will have more social protection, non-discrimination against women, and gender equity. You can see them, they are very, very, very sincere in doing this and very committed. They will go out under the sun, protest, and make known to the public their assertion and lobbying for the rights of these informal women workers, looking for justice for them. Number 3, prioritize people and planet over profit. This is what we mean by 3 Ps, When I say people, this pertains to the benefits of the community, not only the consumers, but also producers. So SSE must benefit both consumers and producers. Planet, this is the environment. There must be environmental conservation instead of degradation and pollution. Profit must serve these 2 goals. In other words, we do not shun away profit. We like profit, but it must serve the first 2 goals, meaning to say it must serve the needs of the people, and it must also serve the conservation of the environment. Number 4, solidarity, cooperation, mutualism. The cooperative inculcates the spirit of mutual help, sharing, and caring, cooperative action based on solidarity and cooperation instead of competition. Participatory democracy. There is freedom of association, members' participation in decision-making, 1 person, 1 vote, co-ownership of the enterprise. Okay, next. Next slide. Okay, so what we have done so far was merely to describe how to identify an SSE. Yeah? We have not yet talked about how to form or how to facilitate the formation of SSE. Or if there's already an SSE, how to strengthen it. Yeah? Now, there is a good news for you. The good news is that we are not going to talk about this at the moment, although this is very, very important, because we are not here only to describe what is SSE. We are here also either to facilitate its formation or to strengthen when it's there already. Now, the more exciting news is that our team, ASEC team, will organize another set of training of sessions just to focus on this. How do we facilitate the solidarity between consumers or organized groups of consumers and organized group of producers? If, for example, you have not yet done that. However, if you have already done the solidarity between consumers and producers, the question is how to strengthen it. This is a topic for our next sessions, but not on May 2 and not in May 9. Over to you, Datuk Denison.
Thanks, Dr. Ben, for that comprehensive presentation. I think the principles have come out well, and you have illustrated them in the context of HomeNet and other examples that you have cited. I think before we move on to the next session, any comments or questions of clarification from anyone?